Today we are going to answer a question. Um, a Muslim, he contacted me actually, and he said that his prophet said uh, in the Quran, chapter 7, verse 157, that his name or there's a prophecy about him in the Bible, in the Torah and the New Testament. And he mentioned to me chapter 7, verse 157. All of them based on what? I mean, either Muslims guessing that this verse is about Muhammad. When somebody is desperate, trying to find a prophet, and that prophet cannot be found even in their book, so they go and start guessing about verses in the Bible. The question is, as long Muhammad he mentioned this, claiming that his God told him this, shouldn't his God tell him which verse? If you go and read all the hadith, all the books Muslims have, you will not find once Muhammad is saying, okay, open, let us say, chapter, etc., verses, etc., in the book of etc., and find my name. Why Muhammad did not do so? I mean, he is he is saying to them here, you find it there, but there is missing part of the story. Because if we find it there, then it should be there in the time of Muhammad.
In Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18, which says, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall say to them whatever I give him orders to say. The most important part is, I will put my words in his mouth. That prophet God spoke about in Deuteronomy 18:18. How will God put his words in the mouth of this prophet? You can read again in Exodus chapter 4, verse 12. The Bible says, Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt speak. So go now, and I will be with your mouth, teaching you what to say. Now go, I will help you speak, and I'll teach you what you should say. So if you go back to Deuteronomy 18:18, it says that God will help that prophet, and he will put his words into the mouth of this prophet, and he will help this prophet to speak the words of God. Now, who is that prophet that the Bible spoke about? I looked further into the Bible and I went to Isaiah chapter 29, verse 11 and 12, and I found this. The Bible says in Isaiah 29:11, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. So the vision, which is Angel Gabriel, came with a sealed book to this him who knows how to read and write, who is learned, but he wasn't able to read this sealed book because he wasn't able to unseal the sealed book. In verse 12, it says, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. He is not learned. If you read different versions of the Bible, much of those versions says illiterate. Other version says, I do not know how to read. Other version says, I cannot read, such as English Standard Version, Hebrew Names Version, New American Standard Bible, the Complete Jewish Bible, such as Common English Bible and Common English Bible with Apocrypha, and much more. So they were talking about this illiterate prophet who doesn't know how to read and write. Now, in Deuteronomy 18:18, God said that he will put his words into the mouth of this prophet. And in Exodus 4:12, he will say God said that he will make this prophet speak the words by the help of God. Now, if you go back to Isaiah 29:12, God said that this prophet is illiterate. So God put his word as he promised into the mouth of this illiterate prophet, and he made this prophet speak the words of the seal book, which is the Holy Quran, which is the last testament. Now, Deuteronomy 18:18, God promised to raise as a prophet, and he promised to put his words in the mouth of his prophet. If you combine Isaiah chapter 29, verse 12, Deuteronomy 18:18, and Exodus 4:12, you will find that God promised that he will bring us a prophet. He will raise up a prophet. And this prophet doesn't know how to read and write. And God will put his words into the mouth of this illiterate prophet. And this prophet will start by saying, read. The vision will ask this prophet to say, read. The prophet or him in Isaiah 29:12 will say, I cannot read and write because I'm illiterate. Though the big question is, who is him in Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 12? This is all prophecy about this him. Now, when we went to the Holy Quran and read the Holy Quran, we go together in the Holy Quran to chapter 96, Surah Al-Alaq, verse 1. Allah said, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. The first thing being revealed to Prophet Muhammad by Angel Gabriel is telling him, read, recite, read in the name of your Lord. Exactly as Isaiah chapter 29, verse 12 said. The vision will ask him to read. He will say, I am illiterate. I don't know how to read and write. When Angel Gabriel came to Prophet Muhammad in the Holy Quran in chapter 96 verse 1, and he told Prophet Muhammad to read and recite, Prophet Muhammad answered exactly as Isaiah says in chapter 29 verse 12. Prophet Muhammad says, I cannot read and write. I am illiterate. So therefore God kept his promise, and he put his words, the words of the seal book, through the vision angel Gabriel into the mouth of this illiterate prophet, and he made this prophet speak the words of the seal book, which is the Holy Quran, by starting by saying, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Read in the name of your Lord. So therefore, this prophecy in Deuteronomy 18:18 and Isaiah chapter 29 verse 12 was fulfilled in the Holy Quran in chapter 96 verse 1.